I'm Sharad Mehta. Just to introduce myself, I'm the SMB Territory Manager for Google Apps for India and subcontinent. So India or Greater India as we call it. And housekeeping items, cell phones on silent mode, just a normal thing. And if you have any questions, there is a dedicated Q&A session at the end. We have some really good goodies to give out for everyone who asks questions. And the thing is that, hold on to your horses, because I'm not actually going to stop the presentation midway for a question, because they would otherwise kick me out of here once my time is up. So wait on to your questions and we'll answer them as they come. Also, this presentation is basically designed to keep the audience in view. There would be some of you in the audience who would know about these things for the very first time. Some of you would be like really advanced users, and some of them, some of you would be like intermediate. So this is designed in a way that everyone can understand what is being talked about. So if you are an advanced user, please bear with all the messaging that's coming out of this presentation. I'll take on all your advanced questions as well, but after the session. So yeah, discover a better way of working, or future of work, as we like to call it. I'll let everyone see. Sorry. Okay. Anyone? Any Google Apps for business users? Cool. So I'll let you guys also answer some of the questions that will come out. Is how working with Google products, or how Google is taking a different approach to work, how we functions, and all the things that we know are so second nature to us. But then we are going to talk about how Google is taking a totally different approach to how you approach work every day. So future of work. I'm going to show you a quick video which would showcase whatever I'm going to talk about in this presentation for 1 hour. That doesn't mean you can leave, but this video would actually sum it up to you.
When you have a great idea and need to work with others to bring it to life.
This is the video that I was talking about, and this is pretty much what I would be talking during 1 hour today, which is Google Apps for Business. Most of you, as I just noticed, that most of you have already heard about it, and some of you are actually using it. But for the larger audience, we would be talking about how Google Apps were conceived as a totally different concept from how work was being done in offices across the globe, and how these are actually changing the paradigms we actually interact with our colleagues, interact with our vendors, maybe from someone from your own office or someone from your office across the globe. So, but why Google Apps and why cloud? Why cloud? That is the story. Most of the people are apprehensive about the cloud. They think that cloud is, maybe it's not here to stay. But cloud is getting a lot of acceptance. And we look at the next slide, and we see that cloud computing. This graph shows the queries with the keyword cloud computing, or related to cloud computing, which are in India starting from 2007. So you can see that they're just shooting up, So it means there's a lot of curiosity about cloud computing as a concept in India. Naturally so, thanks to people like you in Bengaluru who are so far ahead and adopting new technology. So cloud computing, when we look at this data, it looks like around 2008, the queries were more generic. They were more like, what is cloud computing? We describe this phase as maybe the research and curiosity kind of a phase. But then now we are seeing a total paradigm shift. The queries around cloud computing are becoming more and more targeted. They're becoming, people are searching for something like cloud collaboration, or online collaboration, or cloud project management, or online project management. So it means that the market, or the understanding of cloud computing as a concept, is maturing in India. And Indian businesses are right now in a very, they're at a crossroads where they have to decide, whether to embrace the cloud, which is going to be the next big reality, and shun all the different old, ways of working that we did, that they used to do. I did it in my previous organizations. But then when I looked at cloud computing and how cloud computing is a huge enabler, I realized that maybe I was a fool. I'm not blaming those products. They did great, but they were designed for yesterday. So we are now looking at what it means to be working today. These are just some of the businesses, some of the brands that you would recognize. All the Indian brands who have already made that switch. These are the people who have already embraced cloud, Google's cloud, and already on Google Apps for Business, like some of you people here in the audience. Having said that, these are some of the 5 million plus businesses who are already using Google Apps for Business. And to give you a interesting statistics, we are signing up 5,000 new businesses every day across the globe. Across the globe, every day 5,000 new businesses sign up on Google Apps for Business. So that is the kind of acceptance Google's cloud is getting. And let's not totally shun the old technology. It had evolved. So old technology that we had been working with, evolved in a span of 30 years. But right now we see that it is not evolving fast enough, to catch up with the speed of how quickly our work style is changing. Our work styles put a huge demand on this IT and technology and software for today, and it cannot be constricted into a small paradigm that the yesterday's tools were made to work with. We no longer work alone. We no longer work in a corner in a small office, and we don't have to interact with anyone. Though there are some people who but that is changing. We work in teams. We work with teams, not just teams who are sitting next to you, but teams who are spread globally. Teams who are spread across different cities in India, and teams which are spread, not just like location-wise, but also time zone-wise. So you have to work in a way that everything looks and feels like as if you're working with a person sitting right next to you. This is the future of work. These are the 4 pillars that define how we are working today, or how we plan to work today or in the near future. Any team, any place, any time, and any device. Any team, when I say, as I said, we're no longer working with teams that sit right next to you, like 5-people team that's working on a project. You may be a part of a 5-member team, but maybe you're, the other 4 members, someone is sitting in Johannesburg, someone in London, someone in Sydney, someone in New York, or maybe in 4 different cities in India. Any place, geolocation. Geolocation cannot be a barrier in collaboration or work. You cannot start a project and wait for someone to wake up in London while you're sleeping in India to start working on that project. And you have no idea what he's going to do. Geolocation has been a barrier in the traditional solutions that we have been working with. I won't name names, but you can see, you can say, how sending an attachment to someone in London and waiting for him to reply and send you that attachment back, and you having to collate all those changes into one final document, how that was a nightmare. I can recall many of these instances where I just look like an idiot. Anytime, talking about different time zones. I work in Sydney, but I take care of India and subcontinent. I have colleagues in India, who help me manage my role, my day-to-day activities. I have colleagues in Sydney, who are helping me out with my day-to-day activities. And there is obviously a team at the headquarters, Google headquarters, who is actually, just monitoring what's happening. So it's actually, I'm a very good example of, work anywhere, anytime, and you could be doing anything. So so technology has to be an enabler of that kind of functionality, because that is what is required. Any device, bring your own device is fast becoming a norm in the industry. You no longer, most of the people do get, corporate phones like Blackberries or iPhones or Windows devices or Android. But it's becoming a norm that you could walk into your office carrying your own phone, and the company has to be able to give you access to your company's data on that phone or that device or a tablet or a laptop. Any device is a reality. So these are the products that you already know about. Everyone knows about it. Is there anyone in the audience who doesn't know about Gmail? Anyone who doesn't have a Gmail account? There should be someone. Anyone who doesn't have a Gmail account? Everyone has a Gmail account. Wonderful. So you know about these products. 25 gigabytes of space for business users, which is huge. I've been working for Google for the last more than 2 years, and we as an organization get 30% more email than any other organization in the world. That is an independent study that says that. 30% more email. Anyone who can, can throw some numbers at me? How many emails do you get each day? Ridiculous numbers, bad numbers, stressful. Each day, wonderful, you beat me. Anyone else? Anyone else? Ridiculous numbers. Just scare everyone. Anyone? 3 to 400. Anyway, okay, it could be less. But what is the norm? What is the general? What is the mean? How much are we getting? 50. 50 to 100. 50 to 100. We as an organization, or I have not been checking my email because I was in transit from Sydney, and I realized my inbox has like 220 something emails, which gives me a mini heart attack. But that is the reality, right? We are living in an age which is working on email. You get up in the morning before you kiss your wife or before you go to the toilet, you check your email. How many of you are? My friends. Wonderful. I'm one of them. Check your email, right? With that kind of data, with 25 gigabytes of space and 200 emails pouring into your inbox every day, how do you find that relevant information? My inbox is, in these 2 years at Google, my inbox is full 7% out of the 25 GB. And we get huge amount of emails, especially if you are not doing something today, you'll get huge amounts of emails. 7% at inbox capacity. 25 GB of space, you never have to delete any email. Google Drive. It has been talked about in the other session. You already know about it. It's the new name, layman terms, it's the new name for Google Docs, but there's much more to Google Drive. Google Docs as a subset of Google Drive, online real-time collaboration with any number of people. There was an interesting Google Doc that was flowing around while there were floods in Mumbai. Anyone heard about that? There was an interesting Google Doc which was flowing around in Mumbai in 2006 floods, which was being used by 10,000 to 15,000 people simultaneously to give each other locations or alerting people, not to go somewhere or anywhere else. So this is the power of Google Docs. Any number of people, though in an organization you're only working with 5 or 10 of different colleagues, collaborators on a doc, but that is the capacity. You could go and add anyone, and they could start working and collaborating on your doc. Google Calendar, enterprise level calendaring system, which is intuitive enough, to guess what you're going to do. You don't have to actually log stuff on your calendar, decide what date it is. Just type it in, and it would figure out for itself. Google Plus, which is the new thing, not a new thing because it is being talked about so much. You heard about Google Plus, but this is actually the enabler. This is a string. This is a thread that binds everything together and gives a wonderful social and wonderful seamless experience to you even in Google Apps for Business. Google Plus has been enabled for all the domains using Google Apps as well as Google Apps for Business. So if you are one of them who are using it, like you could enable it for your people, start collaborating, do hangouts, multi-people hangouts. You don't have to spend any money on buying expensive software or hardware to enable video conferencing. This is your video conferencing tool free of cost. Moving ahead. Yeah. So moving ahead, we do a deep dive on the 4 pillars of working today that we talked about. Any team is one of them. As we said, we're working with pan-geographic teams. We're working with teams who are not just located in the same location, same office, but we are working with teams who are located elsewhere, maybe different cities in India, maybe different offices within Bangalore. If you are in a company that has different Bangalore offices, like banking, you're working with teams which are spread, which are not in the location that you are in, which are not maybe in the function you are in, and these teams don't have to be the teams within your organization. You are increasingly working with your vendors. You are working with your suppliers. You are working if you are in retail. You are working with your with your retail partners. So we are working with different teams, and we don't realize it. Working with teams does not have to be a pain in the backside. It has to be seamless. Otherwise, it's not collaboration. Otherwise, you're not working as a team. when you start to, for example, just this screenshot is just an example of how you share within a team. It is a Google Doc that you're trying to share within a team. If you see here, there is a different level of access control. You can decide who you want to share the document with, whether this person is within your domain or not. As an administrator, you could enable or disable whether your users would be able to share the document outside your domain. And you can decide whether that person who is going to view this document is only a viewer or he has an edit and share access as well. So there is a real granular level of control. How many of you have already used it? Because I could be boring some people, right? Sorry guys. Sorry. Anyways, so this is how it works. Sharing is very granular. It is controlled. It's the instances of this one very critical document flowing around the company without you having any control of it. There is always this one. There is always this one top secret document in a company. If you are a mid-level organization, that's flying around, that everyone has access to, but you're not supposed to see it. If right? Many people are nodding their head because I had access to a lot of these documents in my last company. I was the privileged one because I knew how to get them. But then that should not be the case. I was not supposed to see them, in the very first place. So that should not be the case. So if you are an owner of a document which is top secret, you can control who is seeing it. And if you don't want that person to see it, you can get the control back. So this is the granular level. And believe me when I say this, right now, if you're trying to collaborate or share something, even if it is attachment, with some of your teammates or some of your vendors who are outside your company, you are never sure. Nod your heads if you agree. You are never sure whether they would be able to open it because you are never sure would they be able, running the right form of software to open. Whether they would be updated enough to open that document. Maybe a 2010 version running on a 2003 machine would never work. Backward portability of documents is a huge issue in the industry right now. Many of you people would agree to it. You send a document across and then I can't open it. So I can't work. That's excuse. So no longer with Google Apps. If you are a manager, your teammates would never have an excuse of not working on a document because everyone is on the same platform, everyone is updated, everyone is working on the same document. So this is any team. Also, with collaboration features while you're working with your team, Google believes that collaboration has to be as simple as creating something. Working on something, working on a document, for example, should be as easy as working with, as creating a document. You create a document, you shouldn't be worried about sharing that document to 1,000 people or 500 people and worrying about whether they would be able to access it or work on it. No, it's seamless with any team, with any place. It has been talked about a lot, and I've been giving my example when I look at it. Any place. Your teams are located in a geographically separated kind of a world. How many of you work with teams which are not located in your same office? How many of you? So many of you. And how do you typically do it? I mean, how do you typically work on a project document? Any answers? You have a mug for the ride vehicle. Wonderful. Okay. Is that the only answer? Is that the only other product that can do it in the market? Webex. Sorry? Right. Anyone thought of pen drive? Anyone doing it through pen drive? How many of anyone with a ridiculous number of the amount of pen drive someone has lost? Wonderful. You get a mug. You get a mug for it. 23 pen drives lost in I don't know how many years. Some of them with data, some of them data which could be critical. And it's not a nice stat to have to get a mug. So don't come up with weird, bad stats to get a mug. But that is the reality. We're working with people, we're working with documents. We're working with, if you were not working with different teams or different products or worried about how to store your data, he wouldn't have put that. I haven't told a pen drive in like 5 years time. Maybe I was lazy 3 years back, but I never used a pen drive. I used there's an interesting story, why I decided not to use a pen drive. Because, pen drives started coming in big sizes. They started coming in 16 GB. They started coming in like 32 GB of space. 32 GB is good enough to pack 20 movies, right? If you used to download movies, like every week, 20 movies. Sorry. Well, they were not around 5 years ago, but yeah, good amount of 20 movies in a pen drive, which I lost in my office. Very embarrassing situation. I don't want to talk about it. I'm very embarrassed talking about it. But then I lost that pen drive and decided never putting any damn thing on a pen drive ever again. I don't know. I mean, maybe people were having fun with that, pen drive because they had so many movies to watch. But they also knew that the pen drive belonged to me. So that was an embarrassing situation. Never putting anything on the pen drive. But then came the cloud. You have control over everything. You have documents, you have movies, even with drive. Even if you have any kind of format of document, you can upload it to your drive. You have access to it. No one can ever, unless and until you give away your password, no one is ever going to have access to your account. Let's put anything, right? So we looked at all these things, but unless and until I show it to you, it's not going to make an impact. Most of you, again, are already aware about it. Most of you already know what I'm talking about, and this would be the this. I can read the tweets, by the way. So most of them, oh, I already know that, right? But then I'll show it for the larger audience who may not be aware of any of these things. So I'll switch on to my demo account, which looks like the normal Gmail ID. If you are a Gmail user, you don't have to be a Google Apps or Google Apps or Business user. But if you are a Gmail user, this looks very familiar. So if you are a company who is trying to move its users to Google Apps, you don't have a huge lot of change management to do. Most of the people who are wary of changing from, say, any of the other platforms to Google Apps or Business think that there would be a huge change management, which is a real issue, by the way, and we acknowledge that. But how I would like to counter that, issue is what I would say. Maybe it's a dumb thing, but that's what I always say. How many of you use a Gmail account? Everyone, right? Don't say no because you said yes before. Everyone uses a Gmail account, so you don't have any change management. It's just like your personal Gmail ID, but there are some key differences that I'm going to highlight. Look at the logo. So this account is actually this account is kind of modified or personalized in a way, customized in a way that it has your logo, your company's logo there, so people know that it's not their personal account and start sending personal mail. But then they would know that it's their official account. And also, if you look at that, your domain address or whatever your company's name is could be could be modified. This account could be modified to accommodate that. Most of you already know that. Also, if you look at the Google Apps for Business account, if I scroll down, I look at the space that is available on this account is 25 gigabytes. A consumer email account is 7 gigabytes, now upgraded to 10 gigabytes. But this is what a Google Apps for Business account looks like, 25 gigabytes. And you have access to archiving, which can give you unlimited space in your inbox forever. If you are that kind of a person, like if you get 600 emails in a day, in 10 years' time, you'll probably need archiving. So this is very clean UI. One great feature that you would notice in Google Apps, if you have not used it yet, I would recommend start using it because it is wonderful. There is a search bar right at the top. Most of you already know it. With 25 gigabytes of space in your inbox, it could be impossible. It could be near impossible actually flicking through the pages and trying to find out a message. But with this search bar is like google.com for your inbox. Anything you type in it, could be searched in seconds. And it doesn't have to be a sender's name. It doesn't have to be a date the email was sent to you. It doesn't have to be a subject. This is contextual search. So if you have some keywords in your email which match what you have typed, it would throw up results. So for example, if you don't remember who sent you an email which mentioned something about the red dress, you could probably type red dress and it would find it for you. It's also always easy to switch the conversation from an email thread which is ongoing, which is very irritating. Some people actually start trawling on it, if you know what trawling is. some people start trolling and they would answer and it would go on for like 200. In Google, we have an interesting concept. So there is a group that we email each other on. I work in the Sydney office, so we have this group called MISC AU, which is called Miscellaneous AU. So if everyone, if anyone comes up with a question like, where is the best doctor for dogs around office, he'll just post it to MISC AU. He'll post a question, and there would be 200 replies in like matter of 1 hour. Some of them would be relevant. There is a doctor, go there, and some of them are like, what is your dog's name? And what's wrong with your dog? Throw it. That kind of, pretty sadistic kind of a reply. Some of them. So it's called trolling. So it's very irritating. Actually, it's very irritating. Kind of having to read through those 200 emails. And there is also something called we have a small award which is called Senti Thread Award. Someone starts a thread and he gets 100 replies. He wins like a special thing. It's nothing much. It's like a T-shirt or something, but he wins it. Maybe 99 out of those replies could be like just troll, simple. What's your dog's name? That kind of thing. But he won. So, but it's very easy if you're trying to get quick answers and you want to not have to wait someone to reply. You could actually switch the conversation from your email over to chat, right? So if you look at this pane, it shows a availability button which is yellow right now, which means that this person is maybe he's away from his computer, but he's available to chat. If this was green, I could have easily changed this conversation from an email to a chat. Maybe start a video chat with this person and get quick answers. How many of you already know about it? And this is just me boring you. Okay, there are some that don't. So thank you for that. Otherwise, people would just hate me and put nasty things on Twitter. But then this is how easy conversation can flow from an email to a chat to a video chat. So this is only possible because this information is lying in cloud, and you have the cloud is flexible and scalable enough to accommodate this kind of a change. If I move from my inbox, so there is a lot that I could do from the inbox, chat, video chat, and search. So if I want to move away from my inbox, I don't have to start a new tab or something like that. There is a black bar, everyone knows it. There is a black bar. I could just click on calendar, and my calendar would open. So it's very easy, creating. It's very easy to create an event. You can look at other people's calendars. You can look at other people's calendars, see what they are up to. You can probably I have a calendar which is called Australian holidays. Always looking for holidays. But anyway, so you could embed multiple calendars onto your own, see what time your boss is free so that you could sneak in a quick meeting with him, or what time he's out of office so that you could rush home. So that's what this enables you to do. Creating an event is very easy. If you have not been using Google Calendar, I would encourage you to use it because it has a lot to it. It has a lot to it. Compared to a normal calendar. So if I say, lunch date, I say Google Bangalore, 2 dates at office. And I say I want to add a guest who is Srinivas or Srini at the rate Autostrap. Srini, don't worry, I'm not going on a lunch date with you. Yeah, so if I save it, and it would send an email to Srini. So my lunch date is showing up. What is, very surprising and what is very heartening is that if you have this calendar on your mobile phone, like everyone does, if you are syncing these calendars with your phone, you would always have access to it on your phone. What it did is I just typed Google Bangalore, but this algorithm was smart enough to figure out that Google Bangalore is the location, and it was smart enough to give me a map for Google Bangalore. So if you're driving, if you're on your phone, it would actually guide you that these are the probable, results for something that you typed. So you could navigate. So if you're on a phone, and if that is an Android phone, you could also switch to navigation, drive your car around, so you don't have to worry about if you're in a new city, if you're a traveling salesperson, like I am. If you are a new city, you don't have to worry about how to travel to various places. You just have everything on your map. Switch the map to navigation and drive anywhere. So this is calendar. Enterprise level features of calendaring available. Then there's also something interesting which is called Google Drive. Every one of you were in that room and you saw a demo of it. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but then let's look at it. So I go to my drive. And I open a document, which is a blank document. I am going to share this document with a couple of people. Some people already have it. And I'm going to share this document with Srini, who probably doesn't have. Srini, if you want to come over and start working on Chromebook. Yeah, so Srini is coming over. Srini is, by the way, just to introduce himself, he is from Zensar. Every one of you must have heard about Zensar. Zensar is one of our product partners of Google Apps. We have a network of partners across the country. So Srini is the CIO of the division that takes care of Google Apps. What these partners do is they provide you help in migrating from your existing solutions to Google Apps. So I'm going to share the speed test kind of a thing with Srini. Yeah, I'm going to share it with him and see how fast he will type. And see if he. Oh, sorry. Give me a second. Boring, right? You already know about it. Okay, so I'm going to share it with Srini. Okay, done. Srini, did you get the email? Yeah, so Srini got the email. He'll just open up the document. And anyone of you want to work on this document? Anyone of you want to beat me? I'm a terrible typer, by the way, but you can easily beat me. Anyone who does the fastest typing would obviously get it. So I'm going to open this document here as well. So anyone of you who want to beat me at typing, raise a hand. Anyone show hand? Okay. The gentleman at the back. I like people at the back. Always used to sit at the back in school. So I'm going to share this tablet with you. It's also one way of showing that you can actually work with any device, and you don't have to worry about sitting in front of your computer all day. Yeah. So just to show you the UI of Google Drive, it's very similar to the UI that was on my laptop. Yeah. So I go to this document called speed test. It would just open up, and it's very intuitive. I mean, I've seen this thing with different. Oh, he's already typing. Okay. Anyone wants to start typing? Okay. So you just have to do the edit and start typing. Srinivas, you are not ahead of me. The race has not started yet. So this is just a, as you have already seen in other demos, the presence is being shown that this is with different colors. That this is where it would only show 2 greens. Because this person is also acting as Sharad, so he can beat you, and it would be my return. So okay, we start here. So we are only going to. Okay, sorry. So we are only going to type, 3 things. Oh, wonderful, champion. Okay, wonderful. Okay, we are not typing in Hebrew. We are typing in English, and we are only going to say 2 or 3 things. That is, one of them is we're just typing a single sentence, and that is, "Welcome to G Days Bengaluru." Okay. Why is Sharad already typing? Anyways, so this is one. I'm doing it the proper way. You can't beat me. So I'm a terrible typer. So 1 is Sharad, 2 is the other Sharad, and 3rd is Srinivas. We are here to beat Srinivas, basically. So, okay. Welcome to G Days Bangalore. 1, 2. Okay. You want the mug? You can take the mug. Anyway. So, just a quick speed test. So, okay, let's not do it. This guy deserves a mug because he's ruined my demo. But then, this is the point that I was trying to put forward, that you could actually be productive with any device. Thank you so much, and I need the tablet. Yeah, so you can be productive with any device. You don't have to worry about where you are, whether on stage or an audience. No, you could be there is offline available as as you saw in the other demo. It's available offline as well. So if you are on plane or holidaying in the Himalayas or at a beach or at a place which doesn't have electricity or internet connection like it happened in India, so you could still work on these documents. And they would sync up with the cloud as soon as you get internet. So you don't have to worry about hitting save every time. That was a disaster button. Save. I always used to forget pressing save, and then I would end up with I would send a CV across without having put my last project because I didn't press save. So yeah, so that used to happen. Switching over from documents back to my project. Yeah. So this was just a quick thing. It was not even a very intuitive kind of a demo. It's not a demo that you haven't seen before. It's not something that you don't know about. But it is something that is becoming a reality, and that's what that's the point that I'm pressing on. So if there are even 50% of the people who are not doing sharing or collaboration this way, then I'm just here to tell you that there is a way you could do it, and this is the way. Anytime, work when you want to. You could be like me, sitting 5.5 or 4.5, depending upon the time, ahead of India, and still be very productive, and still be working with a lot of partners like Sharad and a lot of other partners across in India. Doing hangouts with them, trying to figure out what they are doing, how I could help, and I could be working with a lot of prospects or customers, like some of you. Most of the customers would be falling into your category, because I work with SMBs, I work with small and medium businesses across the subcontinent. I work with businesses which could be 30 minutes behind us in Pakistan or 30 minutes ahead of us in Bangladesh. Or I work with businesses who could be not working at all, like in Maldives, because people are just holidaying there. So you have to actually catch them and make them do something. So this is something and working anytime, any place, any devices is a huge concept. Anytime you open a document, you could be anywhere. Anytime you open a document, you could be very confident that this is the latest the version of the document that you're working on. No matter if someone is actually typing it, no matter if someone is actually working on this document, anywhere else in the world, this document is the latest version of the document you're working on. So anytime you're working with a document, that's the latest version. You don't have to worry about version control. But if you have to worry about version control, there is something called revision history enabled in Google and Docs. So I'll show you while I demo some other thing. So revision history is something that if you're working on a document and you don't like the changes that someone in New York made, and you can't actually talk to that guy right now, what you could do is you could actually switch back to an older version when those changes were not made, right, and save the document. So this is the great thing. Most of the time, if you are project managers and you have 10 different people working under you, or with you, you sometimes you just open a document, you can't figure out who deleted that thing. That was the biggest research I did in the last week, and someone just deleted it, right? And that happens. That happens when critical information go missing from documents, from spreadsheet, not just a Word document or not from a word cruncher, but from spreadsheet. Someone just deleted some sales data. Someone just deleted some data that you spent so much time researching. But with Google Docs, you could always turn back the time. You could always go back to the older version and install or let sanity prevail. How many of you have used version control, or anyone used switch back documents? What would terrible things? Anyways, I do. So I used to be the lazy one in the team who would not fill anything. Who would be waiting for 11th hour to fill in his details, what I did, project reports. They used to be like this terrible. But then with Google Docs, even if you are just waiting on that document, you are showing up at that bar that he's actually here, but not typing anything. You know, my manager would just pull me up. Dude, why are you looking at document if you don't want to work at it? So this is a huge thing. You know, for people like me who have been terribly lazy all their life, this is like, you know, their shot in the arm to work. Anytime can help you, you know, be very sure, as I said, of the document or the version of the document that you are working on. You know, you don't have to worry about, you know, 1,000 different documents flying around. There's a classic case of what used to happen with documents earlier, or you know, most of the people would already be you know, dealing with it. You're working with 4 different colleagues. You send out an attachment to them, document as an attachment to them in an email. Let them make changes. Let them send that document back to you as an email attachment. Try to, you know, spend your weekend collating that data, right? Send it back to get their approval. Some people still make changes because people like me who wouldn't have done it, you know, the first time would do it the second time. Then I had a you know, bad habit of renaming documents. So I would rename any document that came to me. I would never save a document as it is. You know, I would save a document as JJKKPP and then like the person was stopped. You know, and then I never had a control on what I was doing. I was a terrible person. You must be thinking how I ended up at Google. But then just think, you know, is actually a great thing. Not for all the lazy employees, but as a manager, as a worker, you don't have to worry about who's actually working, who's editing the document, or if you have to collate all those changes later at a day and then, you know, present that document. Everyone is working on the same document. Anytime you are opening that document, it's the current, it's the updated version. Looking at any device, you know, these are the 4 pillars that we were initially touched upon, and we are taking a deep dive on. You know, how many of you, I'm doing a lot of quizzes, don't you think? How many of you use your corporate data, emails, or documents on a mobile device? Okay, some of you don't, you know, which is okay, because that's going to change. You know, as a research, it was found that Indians are using mobile internet more than desktop internet. You know, and you saw that stat in the other presentation. So Indians are using a lot of data on mobile. You know, it doesn't matter how much slow the internet on mobile is, but that is a device that is with you every day, right? You cannot carry around a laptop all day, you know, whether you're traveling, and have it open and connected to internet, you know, so that you could be on the top of your email if you're getting, you know, 500 or 200 of them. Mobile devices are something, and most of the companies are giving out your Blackberries. You know, most of the companies are giving out Android devices or Windows phones or iPhones or tablets to their employees so that they could be productive from anywhere. More so if you are a traveling salesperson, if you are managing sales territories, and if you have to travel frequently, you have to be, you know, productive. Traveling is never an excuse for not being productive, at least in today's workspace. You know, our work lives are not constricted as a 9 to 5 kind of phenomenon. So you have to be, you know, productive anywhere, whether you are traveling, whether you are, you know, at home, whether you get an email at 11 from your boss, who's just woke up at London. You know, you have to answer it. You know, I'm not saying that a great thing. I'm not saying it's a great thing, but this, you know, having that kind of access could be critical in some point of time. So most of the companies, as I said, you know, increasingly in the West it has already happened. In India it's happening at a very fast pace. You know, companies are encouraging their employees to you know, bring their own devices. You know, BYOD as it's called. So bring your own device, we'll enable it with the service. You know, and as we know, the biggest bottleneck of the technology or the IT that we have been working with the past decade is that, you know, it would work great on your desktop. It would look great on your desktop, but as soon as you switch to mobile phones or tablets, it would be terrible. You know, it won't do any stuff that you could do on your desktop, and that cannot be an excuse. Going forward, when you are working so much with mobile devices and tablets, you know, you have to be sure that, you know, wherever you're working with any device, you know, you have to have the same functionality. Google Apps for Business, most of the you know, things that you work with Google Apps for Business is 1, Gmail, 2, it's Google Drive, and both of them have dedicated apps on mobile devices. You know, that person just saw that we have a Drive app. I just showed the UI to you, and we have a dedicated Gmail app, right? So so these apps have the same kind of functionality, same kind of features across the platforms. So no matter if you're working on a Mac, on a Chromebook, on a Windows device, or on a mobile phone, you would have to be productive. There's no excuse. Your managers would be breathing down your neck. Anyways, don't want to scare you. So this is the length and breadth of all the devices that Google Apps could work on. If you have a phone or a device that is connected to the internet and have a browser, even if you don't have the dedicated app, if you have a browser, you could access your data, you could work on your documents, and you could be productive as you are while sitting in front of your computer at office. Again, a small demonstration. Most of you, I've said it 17 times now. Most of you already know about it, but then I'm going to switch to my lunch date with chili is due. It just popped up. But then, I'm going to show you a quick thing called Hangouts. Everyone knows about it. You already heard about it in the other module. But then I'm going to show you Hangouts and how Hangouts are helping us, work with our colleagues, which are thousands of miles apart. So for that, I have my colleagues who are waiting in Sydney, and to start this Hangout. So I'll just quickly have a word with them. And let's roll a Hangout. And I obviously have Shane. So what I'll do is I'll quickly go to, I see there's something called Sharad Plus. So I'll go here, and I'll start a Hangout. Yeah, so you people are hogging a lot of Wi-Fi bandwidth right now. Stop working on your mobile phone. Anyways, so this is how Hangout UI looks like. It's very clean. I'll just add a couple of people to a Hangout, and yeah, I'll add Sheeny and Alvastra. Throw that in here. Okay, and you got it. And I start a Hangout. So it would quickly send a email to those people, and I'll wait for these people to show up. Shini, can you see that right?
We can wait.
Yeah. So when we go to the next slide, we also talk about safety. Google Apps is a very safe platform. We have any kind of safety certifications that are around, that are available for cloud platforms across the world. We have that, and we don't believe me. I mean, there are a lot of customers who have chosen Google Apps for Business only because of the safety aspect. There are some of the customers who have already chosen Google Apps for Business. There are in the financial sector. There could be companies in very data sensitive kind of industries, and they have chosen Google Apps for Business as their platform of choice. There is a small video that I wanted to show you, but since I'm running out of time, this is a story of one of our customers, Absolute Data, who are based in Gurgaon, and they did a small story for us where they wanted to tell people like you how good or how useful Google Apps for Business have been for them. Absolute Data actually deals with a lot of data. They provide a lot of due diligence data to companies who are trying to invest somewhere or trying to acquire another company or trying to make very strategic financial decisions. So without doubt, the data that they're using is very critical. It cannot just fly around on the web. It cannot just lie around unsafe in their company. So they trusted Google Apps for Business. Why? Because the platform is, we have security certifications like FISMA, which means that we can host US government's data. It's one of the most finicky safety, it's one of the most finicky governments in the world. They are terribly, paranoid where security comes. And Google Apps for Business is actually certified to host their data. We have SAS 70 Type 2, which only a handful of other business cloud-based services could use or get. So we have SAS 70 Type 2 and FISMA certifications. So that's why Absolute Data use Google Apps. You can actually search for this video on YouTube. It's on YouTube. You can search for Absolute Data Story, and you will get this video. I won't play it here. Quickly wrapping it up. As I said, as I introduced Srini, they are one of our authorized partners in India, and they have our total confidence in deploying Google Apps, in migrating people to Google Apps, and in building services around Google Apps which are not available right now, but you may need. For example, say a workflow solution, or say a HRMS. So these people are actually very qualified to build that for you. Not taking much of your time. This was me. This is Sharad. I am working with a lot of SMBs, trying to migrate them to Google Apps for Business. Selling the what are the benefits of moving to the cloud are. And I thank you with all my heart for coming to G Days and attending the session. I would be outside. Any questions you have, I would still give out the marks. No worries if I'm going out from here. But do ask questions. And if you have any, if any of you here are an IT organization who wants to know about becoming a partner with Google Apps for Business, just talk to me. Thank you so much.